I'm eternally grateful to the Speaker for reaching this. Not just the Speaker of the House of Commons, by the way, the Speaker of the House of Lords, because there are two members of the House of Lords who are also sanctioned by China. And I think it was the right thing to do. I mean, it is an outrageous concept that we who have been sanctioned as parliamentarians for free speech, then another group of people decide to invite the representative of the government that has sanctioned us to Parliament. And that would have been a huge coup to the Chinese government for them to be able to say, look, you know, we're still welcome. And they obviously don't have much time for those who are sanctioned. So his standing up for free speech in the Mother of Parliaments is a critical moment. And by the way, it has resonated all over the world. We've had comments coming back from people who are enormously pleased that we have rejected China's attempt to undermine the natural process.
Do you think bans work? I mean, a lot of people would say, you know, George, you're, particularly for senior politicians like yourself, is better than moving to a more hostile position.
Well, of course, we talked about the UK government sanctioning some officials who were very demonstrably and very provably involved in what I think is a genocide taking place in Xinjiang, but certainly human rights abuses on a scale that is industrial. And they were sanctioned by the British government. But then the Americans have sanctioned them and more. And most countries in Europe have done the same. So this isn't just the UK sanctioning some. They've gone on also, by the way, the Chinese, to sanction in return members of the European Parliament, members of certain parliaments in the European Union, and us. So we're not alone in this. And there are Americans that are also now sanctioned by China. So this is about China refusing to accept any criticism or any observation. They won't let the UN in to have a look at what's going on in Xinjiang. As with COVID, we see how they cover up everything that they don't like. So, you know, speaking out in the Mother of Parliaments is important because it sends a message to many around the world who do not have this opportunity that actually there are people standing up for them and hoping to make sure that China eventually is brought to heel on this.
So if we see China as both threatening and oppressive, in practical terms, what can we do about it?
Well, we can continue to be much stronger diplomatically by saying to them, this is simply unacceptable, and this will have an impact on the way that we perceive the Chinese. But it's the government has really imposed this. You know, intriguingly, you know, they've occupied the South China Seas. They've had disputes at the border with the Indians and killed some Indian soldiers. They've trashed the Sino-British agreement. They're threatening Taiwan on a daily basis with invasion. I mean, you know, any other country in the world would suffer huge opprobrium from the world. But because so much of the developed world is now dependent on China for their cheaper goods and for their policies like batteries and electrical cars and all these things which they now dominate, we found ourselves muted to a degree. And so this process that I and others engaged in is trying to get governments in the Western world to come together to recognize that this threat posed by China is growing, not diminishing. They have a plan to be the largest military in the world now and then to take back Taiwan. And they've said that publicly. So we need to look again at where we place our business. We should be looking to develop countries like India much more and work with them doing the things that we do with China right now. And less dependent, for example, nuclear industry here in the UK is far too dependent and it's a strategic industry. Communications were dependent until we blocked Huawei. I formed an organization with others called the Interparliamentary Alliance on China. It's an international organization, now has 20 countries from Japan to the United States, with parliamentarians on the left and right and growing. And this is what upsets the Chinese more than anything else, is that more and more countries are coming together. Their legislators are coming together and they are wanting to stand together to say, you cannot bully your way through this. You have to become a proper functioning member of the world order. In that case, you have to stand by laws and rules in trade and in human rights as well. And there's no escaping it. And if you don't, we should be saying that we're going to be moving our business elsewhere. And that is a progressive process, which I think would put huge pressure on them.